Welcome to The Happy Writer, a show about creating and sustaining a long-term author career. My name is Patty Jansen, writer of science fiction and fantasy. I've published independently since 2011. This show covers motivation, diversification, learning new skills, and your place in your career. Come on in and be happy. In episode 38 of The Happy Writer, I'm going to be talking about reviews again. In the general talk about reviews in an earlier episode, I detailed how it is not that productive to worry about your reviews or to think that a bad review will seriously affect your book sales. This is under the provision that you are actually getting reviews, because when you're getting very few, or you're just launching a new book, especially if that book is the first in a series, you might want to worry a little bit about your reviews. Bad reviews can and do happen at any time, but they don't need to worry you so much if there are a lot of other reviews. But if there aren't, then you might want to employ some tactics to get you some of these reviews. Ideally, you would want a handful of reviews, say at least 5, at the time of publishing, to cushion yourself against a 1-star review. It could be that someone actually read your book and disliked it, but it could also be just a rating because a reader marks all the books they want to read with 1 star. Some people do this. It's annoying and wouldn't normally bother you, but you only have one other review, so this really skews the average for no good reason. What do you do about this? You set up a review team, also called an Advanced Reader Team or ARC team. These are people who get the book before everyone else and can post their reviews as soon as, or even before, and I'll tell you how to do this, it goes live. These people can also be useful as beta readers if you know them well enough. But where do you find these people? Let's talk a bit about what advanced reader copies are used for and how you can use them. Advanced reader copies are a feature of the traditional publishing industry. Publishers would send a bunch of trusted reviewers, which would include book bloggers and reviewers for small genre websites or magazines, copies of the book before it came out. They would do this with a view of creating publicity for the book. The reviewers would start talking about the book online. These used to be print copies, and often they were not the final product. Certainly, after print on demand became popular, they would often use that to send early copies out to reviewers. They had a list of people they would regularly send books to, because those people would regularly post reviews of the books in question. In self-publishing, it can pretty much work in the same way. The writer has a group of people who get the book a little while before the book goes live, so that they can post reviews. But of course you can't post reviews on books that are not live and still on pre-order. But you can make the print version live a few days before the e-book goes live. You can't do pre-orders on print at the moment anyway, and if you make the print order live, anyone who orders the book straight away won't get it for another week at least, because of print on demand. The book first has to be printed and sent. So you set up the print book, make it live a week before the official publication date, and from the moment that it appears on Amazon, people can post reviews. Of course, people can also post reviews on other sites like their own blogs or Goodreads. Readers, like people in general, are herd animals, so when they see that a book has already been reviewed and it's not even out, they might get curious. But how do you find these people who will do that? I generally find them on my mailing list. I very often ask for people to let me know if they are interested in reviewing the next book. I don't ask them to be part of a team, but I just ask them for the next book. People have busy lives. Many of them don't want to commit long term, but they are looking forward to a particular book, and you can offer it to them early. All they need to do is write a review. Where it often goes haywire is that the writer sends out a bunch of copies and then expects that they all post a review on the first day. If you've been doing this for a while, and you've approached people who always write you reviews and always read all your books, then you may very well get a very high, like 90% strike rate. But if you're just beginning, that's really not realistic. A lot of people will put up their hand, and then either they won't have the time to read or review, or they will just not be so much into the book as they thought they would, and will not finish it, or will decide not to write a review. Trust me, you don't want reviews from those people. So first you have to seek out the people who already enjoy your work. I appreciate that when you're just starting, this is very hard. But maybe you could ask some of the people who have read your work as beta readers to put up a review. It's probably not a good idea to ask your editor or to ask your family members. Not only can readers spot that sort of stuff, but Amazon might object to it and remove the review. Or they might accuse you of review manipulation. Just make sure that the people you ask are regular reviewers of books in general. Amazon doesn't really like it very much if they can spot connections between the author and the reviewer. Really, the best way to go about this is to ask people on your mailing list. But you're just beginning and you don't have a mailing list, and you never went to a writing workshop and never shared your manuscript with anyone. Aside from the fact that I would ask you why not, because it's a very good idea to do this, there are some paid companies that you can use who will put your books up for review on your behalf. NetGalley is one of them, but if you poke around in the writers' groups, you will see that the wisdom of going to NetGalley is kind of debated. The people who get books on NetGalley are quite often seasoned readers who will not hesitate to say what they really think about your book. You may not like it. People will say they want honest reviews, but really, they often don't. I think this is why it pays to prepare a bit for the launch of your first book. You give away an excerpt on BookFunnel and get a few hundred people on your mailing list. You can ask these people to read the rest of the book. Don't be precious and give it away to those who ask for it. Don't sweat the numbers. At this stage, you're trying to build publicity. When you've given out review copies, don't chase these people up for reviews or make threats about removing them from the list if they don't review. Generally, people will respond to that sort of thing by leaving. Generosity begets generosity. But these people might steal your book and put it up on a pirate site. Relax, that's going to happen anyway. There are some scumbags out there who scan Amazon for new books and either grab the sample or just the title and author, or they might even go as far as buying the book, ripping it and returning it if they're really keen, and then put it up on their scummy websites where they scam people for their credit card details and other personal stuff. This is going to happen, and the sooner you make peace with it, the better. Don't ever let this be a reason not to give out review copies. BookFunnel allows you to watermark copies so that you can track where they go. But to be honest, I don't really know any author who sells reasonably well who worries about this sort of stuff. It is not worth your effort. In the scheme of things, you better concentrate on the stuff that works, not on policing your reviews or your reviewers. Once you do have a few books out, you can directly approach reviewers who have written reviews of your previous books. Again, this becomes much easier when they're on your mailing list and you know who they are. I still wouldn't give them an ultimatum or threaten to remove them from the team. This is also why I don't have a team, but I ask for new people with each book. I write in a number of different genres, so the members of my team would always include a bunch of people not interested in that particular genre. All you want, ideally, is to build up a very small group of people that you can be reasonably certain will post a review within reasonable time once the book goes live. This may take a while to build up. You may need to give away a lot more books to get the numbers as high as you want in the beginning. Don't go overboard, though I would probably think 5 to 10 reviews is enough. If your reader comes to a page and there are 50 reviews, and all of them are from unverified readers, and many of them state that they got the book in return for a review, as you are required to do on Amazon, then this will look suspicious. If there are 50 reviews, you want at least 40 of them to be from people who actually discovered the book, paid for the book, and then read the book. One thing you are absolutely not allowed to do is to pay people to write a review. It is true that some of the companies, including NetGalley, charge you to submit your book. You are allowed to pay for access to a company's database. You will notice, though, that they do not promise that you will get new reviews. You're paying for them to send it to the readers and to get access to their database. There are some companies that will promise you a certain number of 5-star reviews. Don't go with these. At best, Amazon will remove the reviews. At worst, you could have your account suspended. You are allowed to give one person a copy of your book for which they will write a review. You are not allowed to pay for this other than to give them the book for free, and you are not allowed to incentivize getting the next book. So you are allowed to give away a copy of that book for them to review, but you are not allowed to give them a copy of the next book in payment for a review of the first one. But, of course, you are allowed to give them a copy of the first book, and then, when they have reviewed that, offer them a copy of the second book in the understanding that they will also review that. But you are not allowed to pay them any money for these. Are you confused yet? Yeah, me too. In general, don't worry too much about this, as long as you don't use any of those companies that are known to charge for positive reviews. This is on Amazon, by the way. The other retailers don't appear to be so fussy about this. You only need to look at some of the reviews at Barnes & Noble to say that they leave a lot of garbage up there, and that the retailer generally does not interfere with the reviews at all. Ultimately, reviews show that people are reading the book. The more there are, the more popular people assume the book is. But a review team can only take you so far. If there are hundreds of reviews, but not that much sales history, rest assured the readers will pick up on this. The purpose of an ARC team is not to goose your reviews. It is to build up a bit of a buffer before you set the book out into the world. Once you have done that, step back and let the sales do their work. So these were my thoughts and experiences with review teams. In the next episode, I will talk about newsletters and specifically what to put in them. Thank you for listening to the Happy Writer Show. Check out links and information about other episodes on my website at pattyjansen.com, where you can also find out about my books. You can support me by subscribing to the show or on Patreon at patreon.com/pattyjansen.